The second performance standard for the research outcome is called substantiation. Basically, that just means referencing your work. Substantiation means acknowledging all your sources of information by referencing them. So all of the written, oral, visual sources, all of the interviews and the chats. And importantly, if you've done this, your own experimentation or your own production, your making of something, you can also reference by describing what happened in that particular circumstance. Now here's an example of referencing, and it's a pretty basic one, but it's the one that we use in general. It's called footnoting, and as you can see at the bottom, you've got numbers 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. And those relate to the little numbers at the end of sentences. So you can see that on the third line down here, you've got a 3 at the end of the sentence, which is basically referencing the information in that sentence. In this particular case, it's a statistic. 63% of businesses were open during AFL games. And what you've got by the 3 at the bottom of the page, you have got your SLASA reference there. Notice that the fourth sentence, following on, from the survey, 70% of businesses reported a positive impact since redevelopment, has got 4 references. And this essentially means this is where your cross-referencing is kicking in. And it's good because it means that you can quote 4 different sources that have suggested this particular fact, statistic, idea, concept, or whatever else. Notice that at the bottom you have got personal communication from 3 people who are backing up the statistics. And again, you've got the same thing, 12, 13, 14. Again, it's a key finding. So in general, we're suggesting you use footnotes. It's not the only way. There are other ways. If you're doing a history essay or an English essay, for example, in the research project, maybe you will need to use something called the Harvard referencing system, in which case ask us. But you'll find if you go on to any form of further education, different universities, different faculties, they all have different ways of doing this. So if anybody tells you that what you're doing is wrong, it's not. It's just one of the many methods, basically. And we use it partly because it's really easy in Word, because you just go to references and you insert footnote. You can make your footnotes at the end of the document. It takes a bit of fiddling, but you can actually do that because some people find it really irritating at the bottom of the page. It's up to you, basically. And the other points I've already kind of mentioned. Here are your citations from SLASA. Just to emphasize a few conventions here. Notice that the websites are in blue, and more, a lot of sources are coming from websites. So we tend to say to you, put them in blue if you can. Sometimes people even say, you need to say the date that you accessed that website, and that is also good practice. So what you do on the top one there, you'd have your website and you go accessed on March the whatever it was, 2016. Just one thing to be aware, sometimes people get a bit confused and they go, oh, okay, this one source is source 6, and every time it turns up, I'm going to call it source 6, and it's got a footnote 6. Basically, the rule is every time you mention something, it's another footnote. So you can see here, we've got Adelaide City Council 215, the business survey, and that is footnote 6, and it's footnote 9, and it's footnote 11. Now, if you want to go a little bit further with your references, you can use IBID, and you can use other conventions as well. Just ask us if you feel that that's something that you want to do. So, in a nutshell, advice for substantiation is use as many of your sources as you can, have at least 15 footnotes, and if you are aiming for an A grade, it's not unusual to have over 100 footnotes. So have a look at the exemplars. The 100 footnotes doesn't apply, obviously, to every A grade. It does depend upon what you're actually doing.